The awakening. The orb burned in his hand as if it had a pulse of its own. Each throb sent waves of heat and images coursing through him, memories that weren't his but felt as familiar as his own skin. He saw laboratories buried deep beneath cities, faceless men in suits, their conversations drowned by static, but their intent unmistakable. They were architects of control, creators of something far bigger than him, and now he was their loose thread. The jungle around him buzzed with a low frequency, an eerie hum that seemed to echo his thoughts. It wasn't natural, but neither was he. As he moved through the dense undergrowth, the orb seemed to guide him, pulling him toward something, toward answers. Then he heard it. A deep mechanical whirring from above. He looked up just in time to see a black triangular craft slice through the canopy like a blade. Its surface shimmered, blending into the sky. Not a drone this time. This was something far more advanced, something not of this world, or perhaps from a part of the world that wasn't supposed to exist. The kiwi bird chirped nervously on his shoulder as a spotlight from the craft scanned the jungle. He darted into the shadows, clutching the orb tighter. The images it showed him became more urgent, more chaotic. A conference room, a hologram of the jungle floating above a table. Men and women arguing in hushed tones, pointing at highlighted areas on a map. One man slammed his fist on the table, shouting a single word, "Leviathan!" The jungle suddenly felt colder. The word echoed in his mind. Leviathan. A code name, a project, a weapon. And he was at the center of it. Hours later he reached the clearing. What lay before him stopped him in his tracks. A massive hatch, camouflaged by the jungle floor with markings identical to those etched into the orb. The air around it shimmered with an energy he could feel in his bones. The orb pulsed violently, urging him forward. He hesitated, glancing at the kiwi bird. "Guess we're doing this," he muttered, placing the orb into a socket on the hatch. The ground trembled as the hatch opened, revealing a staircase spiraling down into the earth. A faint blue light illuminated the descent. He started down, each step taking him further from the world he knew and deeper into the one that had been hidden from him. The air grew thick, metallic. The staircase ended in a cavernous room filled with glowing tanks. Inside each tank, something moved, humanoid figures suspended in fluid, their eyes closed, their bodies unnaturally elongated. He moved closer to one, his breath catching in his throat. They looked like him, not exactly, but close enough to make his skin crawl, the same muscular build, the same enhanced features. But these versions weren't alive. Their skin was pale, veins webbed with glowing lines. Failed experiments. The orb in his hand brightened, illuminating the far end of the room where a control panel blinked. He approached and the screens flickered to life, revealing streams of data, blueprints, and classified files. Project Leviathan, Phase 4, Objective, Human Environmental Symbiosis Weaponization. Status, Subject 087, active. His breath hitched, Subject 087. That was him. The files revealed everything. The government wasn't just experimenting on him. They were trying to create a new species, hybrids capable of merging with the environment, adapting to any condition, surviving any threat. Soldiers not bound by human limits. But something had gone wrong. The jungle itself had interfered, taking control of him, turning him into something beyond their design. The lights flickered as a voice crackled through hidden speakers. It was cold, mechanical, and unmistakably human. Subject 087, you were never supposed to find this place. He spun around, searching for the source, but the room was empty except for the tanks. The voice continued. You think you're free, but you're still part of the program. The jungle may have taken you, but it won't save you. You're an anomaly, and anomalies are meant to be erased. The orb flared, almost in defiance, and the tanks around him began to crack. Whatever was inside them was waking up. He felt the jungle's energy surge through him, urging him to act. No, he growled, clutching the orb tightly. You don't control me anymore. The tanks shattered, fluid spilling across the floor as the figures inside collapsed. But they weren't lifeless anymore. They moved, their eyes snapping open, glowing with the same light as the orb. They weren't failures, they were his predecessors. And now they were awake. The voice grew panicked. "Shut it down, shut it all down." But it was too late. The jungle's power had fully merged with the facility. Vines erupted from the ground, tearing through machinery, ripping apart the walls. The figures from the tanks stood, their movements jerky but purposeful. They looked at him, their glowing eyes filled with a silent understanding. He wasn't alone anymore. The triangular craft outside roared as it descended, but the jungle struck back. Trees grew at impossible speeds, wrapping around the craft, pulling it down. The symbiotic force of nature and machine was unstoppable. As the facility crumbled around him, the man walked toward the exit, the orb dimming in his hand. The jungle was his ally now, its secrets no longer hidden. But he knew this was only the beginning. The government wouldn't stop. They would send more. But now he had the jungle and its army on his side, and somewhere deep in his mind one final thought echoed, "They made me to survive, but now I'm here to fight."